Hey guys, for today's weekly shoutout, we have a top player who is ridiculously underrated, who is known as RG. RG is currently number 4 on the Demon's List stats viewer, and he has beaten levels such as Crimson Planet, Edge of the Blade, Coronet, Plasma Pulse Finale, Sigma, Bloodlust, Sonic Wave, Yatagarasu, Aronia, Erebus, Ouroboros, Spatial Rend, and so many more. Despite being one of the best players in the world right now, he only has 1,300 subscribers, so I would love if we could push him to get him to at least 2k, because he absolutely deserves it. He is one of the fastest and best players at the current moment, and the attention he currently has isn't anywhere near the attention he should be getting for his level of skill. So yeah, subscribe to RG, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hi everyone. It's been a while since I did a discussion style video, but there's recently been a topic that has piqued my interest, and as a result, today we're going to be talking about it. So, as I'm sure you all know, around December last year, the Geometry Dash 2.1 awards were released. They were met with a fair amount of criticism and questioning about the choices of the nominees that were picked from many people, myself included. On top of this, we have not seen any sign of 2.1 coming to a close almost a year on. And with so many amazing levels being released in between the period of when 2.2 is going to be released and when the original 2.1 awards were made, it's unfair to cut them out entirely and not give them a chance for an award. I'm not sure why Viper and his gang made the 2.1 awards so soon if they didn't actually know if 2.2 was going to be released after it or not, but that's in the past now. And with a demand for a round 2 of the 2.1 awards, Viper has come up with a new way to give all the levels an equal chance to get an award. This has come in the form of yearly GD awards instead of update awards, and I think this is a much more fitting idea due to the state of the game and how little it's being updated. This will give more room for levels to be recognized, and it won't force 4 years of efforts into one ceremony that'll undoubtedly leave some things left out. However, there are still problems with the system, and in this video, I want to talk about my thoughts on the awards and how they are flawed. Before I start, I just want to state that I am no way sending hate towards Viper or the committee behind the awards when I say things in this video, as I am instead giving my ideas and fair criticism I have towards them with what they come up with. I will also be offering my thoughts on what we can do to improve the system and make it so these awards can finally be turned into a just and accurate representation of the best players, creators, and levels of the year. Again, please don't hate on Viper or anyone else related to the awards, as I already have gained massive respect for their efforts to fix up the system. I just want to say what I think about it and how it's still flawed. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the discussion. So, before I talk about all the flaws, I want to actually go over what the new system of how the nominees are chosen works. The information about how it was all planned to go down was released about a week ago, on September 5th, on Viper's Twitter. He announced that the 2020 awards would be happening on December 19th, and alongside this, he linked a Google form where us community members can enter our thoughts for each category, as to make the process more representative of what the community actually thinks. He also disclaimed that there would be a final team that would choose the final nominees, but they would use the community's input to help guide their choices. If you guys want to fill out this form, I will have it linked in the description, and I really highly recommend giving it a go and making sure you pick choices that you really stand by. Anyway, so what's the problem here? Well, there are a few problems that I'm going to be talking about, but the first one is one that's pretty insignificant and easily changeable, but I wanted to talk about it today anyway. Like I said earlier in this section, Vibrant set the date for the awards on December 19th, and though I don't know why he chose this date, it doesn't really matter that much, right? Well, I would argue that it does matter. Seeing as this is the yearly GD awards, the date for the awards should be sometime right up to the turn of the year, as if you have them sometime like December 19th, this leaves a weird gray area for levels that are released after the awards but are not actually in the next year, meaning they can't get nominated for either session of the awards. You might say that this isn't an issue, because even if there was a level released right up close to the deadline, it wouldn't get enough votes in time to get nominated for that year, but that's irrelevant. If we leave this gray area and there are some levels that happen to get released in the same year after the awards, they won't even be able to be nominated for next year's awards since they technically don't apply. I'm not sure what the significance of December 19th is and if Vibrant has even thought of this, but it should be a pretty easy fix. And despite its not immediate nature, this is an issue I would really like to get ironed out before we continue with these awards. You might say that the chances of this actually happening are incredibly slim, and I would agree with you there, but crazier things have happened. And for a level of some amazing quality to get accidentally released in this gray area of time would be incredibly unfortunate, and it's something we should try and avoid. But anyway, that's just a trivial, easy fix that I thought I would mention. Beyond this, I do have some more reasonable criticism that aims at the fundamentals of this contest rather than the specifics. Before I start talking about that, though, I just wanted to ask for you all to just hear me out in full instead of tuning out after a bit, as hearing my full argument and statement is crucial to understanding what I'm trying to say. So, you might have already anticipated what I'm going to say about this contest, and this is that with the addition of the community input, the selection has essentially turned into a popularity contest. If you don't get what I mean by that, let me put it like this. Imagine you're a pretty out-of-tune community member, and you only follow the most famous players and creators, and you hear about the form of the awards. Of course you give it a shot at filling it out, but when the only levels you know are Kinos and Zodiac, and the only content creators you know are Nimpesta and Guitar, it's obvious that those are going to be your choices. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but you get my point. The actually deserving nominees for the awards aren't going to be selected, as it's just going to be based off popularity rather than actual justice. Of course, this is where the actual committee comes in, right? That's the reason they have people in place on the chair to pick the real nominees, instead of the entries just being decided by the community. Well, that's where the second big problem comes in, and that's where I think the more fundamental issues of contests like this come into play. From the likes of Viper to all the people around him, there is a persisting problem that I think needs to be addressed and solved before we can truly move on and make a fair contest for all. So, as I'm sure some of you might know, back when the original 2.1 awards came out, I made a video that I have now privated due to how horribly it was made, about how I disagreed with a lot of the choices that the committee made and talked about why they were biased or just plain uninformed, and I still stand by that claim today. In the past awards, we saw players like Nswish fail to be nominated for Best Player at all, and we further saw players like Brian the Burger be placed over some people like Mycrafted, which is either bias or just plain ignorance to the best players around at the time. But this was an issue of the past, so why am I talking about it now? Well, in my opinion, this problem is going to be inevitable as long as people like Viprin and the current big community figures are running the show. Let me get something straight though. I do not hate Viprin. I just honestly think that though he's a very big community influencer, he's not right to run these sort of contests. This is why I think that they are fundamentally flawed. Instead of continuing to try to please the community with the current big figures still running the operation, I think it would be best if we gave a platform to people who have proven themselves as level critics and well-opinionated individuals. Again, I'm not saying Viprin is lacking opinions, but I do think he can be quite biased at times, and he just overall has a tendency to miss quite a lot when it comes to running these things. And I think something like giving the community room to help influence their decisions will only amplify this problem. As much as I agree with the sentiment of trying to give the community a bigger voice, I think that again, it'll just turn into a popularity contest. And this wouldn't be a problem if we had judges who could sort out the biased nominations, but I fear that this reinforcement from the community's beliefs will only solidify the issue. Before tackling issues like giving the community a better voice, like Viprin is doing right now, we need to get the problem at its source, which, whether you like it or not, has time and time been shown to be the people behind the operation. I do think Viprin is a good person to spearhead the organization and get the ball rolling, as he has a lot of influence and is very well known, but at the end of the day, I think we need some other people behind the final decisions. Viprin has tried to give room for other community members to join the committee and give their opinion, if they think they are fit too, by asking people who would like to join to contact him. But again, the problem isn't going to be solved by extra people who are just giving their opinions. It would only be solved by changing the actual person behind the final decision, which in this case would be Viprin and other such big community figures. I think a good community member who we could give a platform to for this operation would be someone like Jakob Nugget, who has proven to have calculated approaches to how he rates a level on his legit level review series, as this will ensure fair final decisions. As much as Viprin can showcase cool levels, I believe that he still lets a fair amount of bias interfere with his choices, and I think it would be best to just give the floor to someone else. But sadly, I doubt this will ever change. I don't know if we will ever get Viprin and the people close around him to come to grips with the fact that at the core, they are the problem. Again, I really want to stress that I mean no hate or offense to them, but I'm just saying what I believe in the most respectful way I can. Despite this video likely not changing much in the grand scheme of things, I still thought it would be important to address the issue, as it's something I feel strongly about, and the fair distribution of something as big as the yearly GD Awards is something you should all feel strongly about too. If we don't try to at least be mindful of this problem and spread the word about why they keep coming out so sour, then we will never make any sort of change and allow the big community figures to continue to run the show in their own circle of slight bias and misinformation, whether they are mindful of what they are doing or not. Again, assembling a completely fair and unbiased committee for the awards would be very difficult, but I still believe that the current roster of people who are currently seated to make decisions has a lot of improvement to switching to be desired. I have a dream that one day we can make a difference in this regard and make a fair system for everyone, and I can only see it come true with your guys' help. We can't do much individually, but if this video resonates with you, Feel free to spread it around and get word out, not for my popularity's sake, but for the sake of the resolution of the issue at hand. I am sure that for the amount of people that agree with me here, there will be a fair amount who also disagree. So if you have any other thoughts, feel free to comment them, and I will do my best to hear you out and give my thoughts on what you have to say. Anyway, I really don't want to go on for much longer, as I have said my share, and I'm going to leave the rest up to you guys. Do what you will with this video, and whether you ignore it or spread it around, I really appreciate you at least watching this far. Again, I can't do anything on my own besides make this video, so if you believe in what I'm saying, take initiative to make a difference. Alone, we can't do much for this issue, but if we spread the word, maybe we can make a change. Thank you for listening to me this far and hearing me out, and I look forward to what you all have to say and where this video will take us. Well, that's all I have for this video, guys. Sorry that it wasn't super long, but hopefully it was a bit more stomachable because of it. I tried to break it up and make it as short as it could be so I could actually get my point across. If you enjoyed, you could always consider dropping a sub, as we are super close to 5k, but there's no pressure. I hope you all got something out of this video, and like all my discussion videos, feel free to comment your thoughts down below and tell me what you think about the topics discussed. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this far, and I will see you all in the next video.